Hello everybody, my name is Thomas Perkins. I'm currently running for District 46 of the West Virginia House of Delegates, which represents eastern Greenbrier and southern Pocahontas counties. I'm running for juvenile justice reform. As a child, I was in the state's custody where I was more or less abused and neglected for several years. And one of the things that I've learned is that kids that are in the state's custody are treated like complete and total garbage. If you look at what's happening right now down in Raleigh County at Southern Regional Jail, look at the inmates that are being abused. Look at the inmates that have actually been killed while in state's custody. Now think about children in the state's custody, and how they're being abused and neglected. One of the things that I think West Virginia realized in the last couple of years and witnessed was the opioid epidemic. The state's still trying to recover. We're still trying to figure out how to deal with that. Should drugs be illegal or should they be legal? It's a huge conversation and it's a huge debate. But let me tell you this. One of the biggest things that the pharmaceutical industry has done that most of you probably are unaware of is the fact is that they have infiltrated the juvenile justice system. They have set up these controlled pharmaceutical testing facilities across the state. Most of them are referred to as juvenile justice centers or juvenile treatment centers or whatever you want to call them. But the fact of the matter is this, they are pumping pharmaceuticals into these facilities. They are poisoning kids one by one. And it is a huge problem. It's a huge epidemic. And most people are completely unaware that this is actually happening. But let me tell you something else that's happening right now. Think about what happened during COVID-19. Think about the medical tyranny that we witnessed and that we experienced. Think about what happened with the military, dishonorable discharge from the military, soldiers being forced out because they refused the COVID-19 vaccine or the jab, if you will. Think about inmates in our jails that were put into solitary confinement who refused the COVID-19 vaccine. Now think about this. Think about children in the juvenile justice system. Think about how many of them were forced to take the jab against their will. Medical tyranny is alive and well here in West Virginia, and we need to put a stop to it. That's why I'm a supporter of vaccine choice, and that's also why I am endorsed by Health Freedom PAC. Because here in West Virginia, we have got to have control of our own health care. And that's one of the reasons why I strongly opposed Governor Justice's decision to veto the vaccine exemption bill that he recently vetoed. And that's why I encourage you to vote for Alex Mooney for United States Senate, because we need to have somebody in Washington that's going to represent us as West Virginians. But besides that, we've got to talk about other serious issues that's impacting everyday families, and not just juvenile justice. But we got to talk about other important things such as inflation, rising costs. You know, I feel that there's not really a whole lot we can do on a state level to fix inflation, but what we can do is we can work with the Department of Agriculture to help farmers and other small business owners to produce products and bring their produce to market locally. Local grown produce is going to be a lot cheaper than imported produce into the district. That means people can buy groceries at a more affordable rate. That's more cost effective to them. And I feel that that's one way that we can kind of combat inflation and rising cost here in West Virginia. Other things that we've got to do is we've got to get broadband in. I know you hear it all the time, infrastructure, broadband, but we've got to get broadband in, because without broadband, we have no future. And what the West Virginia legislature has done is they have neglected West Virginia. They've said, we've got record surpluses. We got all this money flowing in. Let's give ourselves a tax credit. Well, who gets the tax credit? Who gets the tax break? Well, it goes to the rich. It goes to the people with the money. Poor people don't see a dime of that money. Poor people don't get any tax credits back, and that's not right. What poor people do is pay taxes, and what poor people expect is they fix the roads, the infrastructure, the things that impact their daily life to actually be taken care of and fixed, not to be driving down the road, hitting potholes, tearing their cars up. We want our roads fixed. We want our infrastructure fixed. And that's one of the things that I'm willing to fight for, and make sure that that fund and that surplus funds actually go to critical infrastructure like roads, like broadband access and other things, which most politicians say, hey, let's just send the money back as a tax credit. And I say, let's spend that money to actually get the infrastructure and stuff that we need here in West Virginia, because we're not going to have any kind of economic development. We're not going to attract out-of-state businesses if we don't have broadband access. Fiber optic, you hear it all the time. Fiber, we need to get fiber in here. Fiber's been around since the 1960s and 70s. It's been around for years, and it's just one of those things that was never adopted because of the dot-com bust back in the early 90s. So that really took an impact of why fiber expansion didn't take off. But fiber is really going to be the backbone of West Virginia's economy moving forward. I currently have Starlink. It's satellite internet. It's wonderful service. I pay $140 a month. That is out of reach for most people. Most people cannot afford $140 a month for internet service. It's crazy. Internet access should be low cost, affordable for all West Virginians. And one of the things that my opponent did was he actually voted to subsidize solar panels by increasing everybody's utility rates. That means your electric bill actually went up because of his subsidize for voting for solar. That's something that we shouldn't have here in West Virginia. We need to keep electrical rates low. And as part of my energy pledge when I ran for state senate 2 years ago, was to actually fight to keep energy rates low. That was one of my pledges as a state senate candidate, and as your delegate, that will also be one of my pledges that I will fight to keep energy rates low here in West Virginia. When I ran for state senate 2 years ago, I campaigned in Greenbrier, Monroe, Summer, Fayette, and Nicholas counties. Most of you in Pocahontas County probably don't know who I am, but I'll tell you this, I'm a fighter. And when I ran for state senate, I lost. And it was because I wasn't ready. There was a lot of issues I didn't understand. I didn't understand some of these type of fertilizers and industrial pesticides that the Farmers Bureau was talking about. Should we ban them? Should we keep them? I mean, I didn't understand that stuff. I'm pretty sure most of you probably don't have a clue about it either, unless you actually work in agriculture. So there's a lot of subject matter that I don't understand, and I still don't understand, and I'll admit that. But that's why we have political parties. That's why I'm a Republican. I got colleagues that I'm sure are experts in agriculture that I can reach out to and talk to and say, hey, what can we do to fix agriculture? How can we improve agriculture? How can we help our farmers? And that's what's important, because Greenbrier County is one of the largest agriculture producers in the state. And that's important to a lot of people. Pocahontas County, is relying right now heavily on tourism, because of all the national state parks and stuff up there. But the thing is, if you want to draw tourism into your area, you've got to have broadband. Tourists don't want to come in and just basically say, hey, I'm going to come in, take some pictures on my phone, and I can't post them on Instagram or Facebook because there's no internet access. People want that internet access. So that's why we got to get broadband in here, because that's going to be the backbone of our tourism industry. But there's many issues that we can talk about. There's a lot of things that I can discuss, but I'm going to tell you this. My name is Thomas Perkins. If you want to learn more about me and my platform, you can visit my campaign's website, thomasperkinswv.com, and together we can bring positive change to West Virginia. I am a proven conservative. My opponent is a proven Democrat. My other opponent is 20 years old. He has no political experience hardly whatsoever. He has no real world experience. And I'll tell you what, we don't need either one of those guys in the House of Delegates representing the 46th District. I got into this race because I truly do care. And if you look at the facts, I live in Frankford, West Virginia. I got 3 kids at home, Jonathan, Lucy, and Lilly. They are, Jonathan's 3, my twin daughters are 2. And I'll tell you this, they're going to be starting elementary school in Frankford Elementary School here in just a couple years. Frankford Elementary School just got over $6 million in renovation funds. That's crazy. And you know what? If I would have ran for school board like I intended to, I would be able to help micromanage that project and oversee that project through. But because I chose to instead run for House of Delegates, I won't be able to do that. And the reason I ran for House of Delegates is because I was unhappy in my choices of candidates. I mean, I have a choice between a 20-year-old kid, no real world experience, and a choice between a former Democrat who is not going to represent me or my values. He claims to be pro-life, he claims to be pro-gun. I don't buy it. I truly don't buy it. I am the conservative in this race, and that's why I ask that you support me this coming primary. Thomas Perkins for the West Virginia House of Delegates in the 46th District. And as I said before, my campaign's website is thomasperkinswv.com, and I would appreciate your support and your vote, and together we can bring positive change to West Virginia. Thank you.